Hi everyone, this video is going to demonstrate how easy it is to data bind divs, make them visible, change button titles, real easy stuff, data binding using Knockoutjs. As you can see on the monitor, the knockoutjs.com is the website where you can download it. It has live examples, tutorials, documentation. I really like Knockout to data bind uh, data or values to HTML. But like I said, this tutorial is just going to be a simple way of demonstrating how to make a div visible, invisible, how to change button text, just real simple stuff. But I just wanted to show how easy it was to get Knockout into your code and really go from there. The site that we'll be using is actually my own site, robertjbird.com. What I wanted to do was, as I increased my video list, I wanted to give the ability of the user to choose and filter what videos they want to see. For instance, right now in web program I have a video creating Visual Studio Web Express MVC application, and then I have a video here that's installing the Zurb Foundation in Visual Studio Web. So really the video in the yellow deals with MVC. That's its primary category. The video listed in blue is Zurb Foundation, which is a strong um, framework, but primarily it's using here as CSS. So what I want to do is create 3 buttons here. One button would be view only MVC video. Another button would be located here, view only CSS video, and then let's make a reset button that pretty much puts everything back to its original state. So anyhow, let's go and start. I've already got Visual Studio open, and that's the file, index.cshtml. Let me just kick these other files out of here. So as you can see, right now what I've got is a class using the Zurb Foundation, where I've got this text going full length, and then I have right here, this is the section that displays the video list, the MVC video, and this right here does the CSS video. So with Knockout, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go ahead and drag that JavaScript in, and I've already done that, and it's quite easy. I imagine if you're looking at this video, you have an idea of how to do this. But as you can see right here, there's 2 scripts that are brought in. There's a debug.js and Knockout. As of right now, it's 2.3.0.js, and that's the one we're going to use. And like I said, the object is to let the user filter out the videos, and hopefully one day this list will be long and it'll become useful. But I thought I'd go ahead and at least start the filtering process on this page. So anyways, let's get started. So what we want to do is, how this works is Knockout uses the MVVM, which is model view model pattern. And so what that is a way to separate your code, and I'm going to show it real quick as we go through the separation of code. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and start creating my buttons, and I'll find a spot just for that. I'll just put it right here. So let's go and just create 3 buttons, and go ahead and make those now using a row. Remember, this is using the Zurb Foundation framework, so if you're familiar with that, you'll know exactly what this means. And let's see here, then we'll make that class equals large dash, let's make it 3 columns. There's a space there. And let's go and just do a label right now. So we're just going to do filter the video lists. Make that a capital V just to make things nice. And let's tidy this up a little bit. Alright, large 3. Okay, that works out. So let's create our first button. And what I'm going to do here is just copy and paste to give me that button. So here's another large 3 column. And let's go and add a button. Let's see here. Let me get rid of this here. Make this an A tag. And we'll make this a small button. And say show only the CSS videos. Okay, once we've got that, I'm going to go and copy and paste this one. Large 3 column, small button, and I'm going to make this one show the MVC videos. And once again, I'm going to copy and paste. And this one's just going to be the reset button. So I'm just going to say reset the list. And we'll save it there. And let's see what that looks like. And as you see right here, here's the filter the video list. Let me knock this down a little bit. Here's the show only the CSS videos. Of course, when I click it, nothing's happening. Show only the MVC videos, nothing's happening. And then reset the list. And as you see, when I click on this, nothing is happening. These videos are still here. So the object is show only the CSS videos, which means just show this list, this video only. Show only the MVC video means only show this box, this yellow box. And then reset the list would just mean reset it back to its original state. Okay, so let's do our next thing. So now, once we have that, I want to go ahead and put in a data bind. And what the data bind is just a way the connection between the div and the other div, the actual video div, which is located right here. These right here, this, remember, is one of the videos, and this one is the other one. So we're going to have to do some connection. So obviously these are buttons. So what I'm going to have to do is some kind of click event. So on this one right here, with Knockout, this is not Knockout syntax. Data bind equals click, and I'm going to do this show CSS. And I also want to change some text on the button, so I'll do text and then CSS value. And I'll go over this after I start typing all this stuff. I want to do the same thing over here. Data bind equals click, and I want to show MVC, show the MVC video. And then I want to also change that text and MVC value. Okay, I need to get rid of this quotation mark right there. Okay, and then on this one as well, data bind, and then of course that's going to be a click. and we'll call that reset list, and we'll leave it at that. Okay, let's find out if anything happened on that. I went ahead and added those click events, but as you see, there's still nothing going on. I'm clicking, these guys aren't disappearing, they're appearing, anything like that. So that's part of the data bind of Knockouts. So now we need to connect these guys to this div, but there's got to be something behind it. So when I say something behind it, we're talking about some scripting that kind of tells you what's going on. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is create section scripts. Now, with section scripts, you need to be aware on MVC, for instance, on the layout page, which I closed already. Here's the layout of that page. You'll see right here it says at render section scripts required false. That means this is the section that you can go ahead and insert your scripts that are related to that individual view. You'll notice that it says false. That means that Visual Studio won't give you an error if there's no scripting in that page. So if this said true, there's got to be some scripting on that view. But since it's false, it's just saying that, well, if it's there, great. If not, no problem. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. This line right here is going to bring in what this section is going to be. That's all that happens. This section will be imported into that layout. So anyhow, let's go and start this. And it's going to be, actually, let's go and bring Knockout in. We do have to bring that in at this moment. So I'm going to make sure I have the path right. Scripts, Knockout 2.3.0.js. Okay, so this right here brings in the necessary script, which is Knockout. Okay, now what I want to do is go and write the JavaScript portion, the model that's going to have the functionality of what I want to do. So hit script, type, tags, JavaScript, give you some space. Okay, so now what I want to do is do the view model, and that's accomplished by view model equals, you want some brackets here, let me go ahead and add second bracket, give it a little space. So now what we want to do is go ahead and start attaching some of these values. And as you know, let's go back up here. You see where it says click show CSS. We now have to tell the engine the binding from this indicator to what Knockout calls an observable. So let's go ahead and do show the CSS, and this is Knockout right here. It's Knockout, and then you need an observable. That means it's observing that value, and right now we're going to default that as true. That means show CSS Knockout observable is going to be true. Now, before I go on, what I'm going to do is these divs, remember this div is not connected yet. I have to connect them. So we want to basically, remember, we want to make them visible and invisible. So Knockout has a declaration for that. So anyhow, let's go and put in the visibility in that real quick. So let's see here. Let's put it right here. Data div data bind equals, oops, let me spell that right. And then we're going to do visible. You see it shows up until it shows up. Show the MVC. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is copy this to make just life easier on my typing since my keyboard is so loud. Show the CSS. Okay, so what I'm saying is the visibility is bound to the show the CSS item. Now, I don't know if item is the correct word, but that's what this means. So that we're data binding the visibility of this div to show the CSS, I guess you could say object, maybe it's the right word. This is installing Xur Foundation, so this is actually the CSS video. This is showing the MVC video. Now the view model right here, show the CSS knockout.observable true. That means true. Make that visibility true. And I want to do the MVC ko.observable true. And I'm going to leave it at that. Okay, and I want to demonstrate, let's see here, let me see if I get this correct. I want to go and demonstrate really these two things. Is now these are bound. As you can see, visible show the CSS. Show the CSS as true. This is the connection right here. Okay, so if I go back to, let me go and save it. And make sure everything works out right. If I go back to the website, once again, these are still not connected. We're getting there. But you can see that both these videos, these panels, there's one thing that I need to put in here, which is actually to activate. And that's actually activating the knockout binding. And so in order to make this work, I went ahead and copied that. Activate the knockout binding. So this actually makes the knockout binding possible. And so you need to have this at the end to go ahead and make this work. And let me see if I've got everything here. Knockout binding, blah, 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 view model there. Okay, so once we've done that, and one thing to note, I did have an error on the code. So what I did, I found out that I needed to go ahead and comment this out since I haven't declared some of these knockout values. So once I did that, what I want to do is demonstrate how this was bound to this div. So as you can see, show the CSS is false. That means don't show it. And show the MVC is true. That means do show it. And as you can see right here, once I went and ran that, once I commented that section up ahead and ran that, it did work. You can see that show MVC is true and CSS is false. And I'm going to reverse that. Remember that was yellow. The video was yellow. Now the one I want to make is blue. So let's go ahead and reverse this. True. If I can spell it. And make this false. Go and save that. And let's hit refresh on that. And as you see now it's the blue. It just flip-flopped. I just flip-flopped the true and the false. So that's how it's bound. That's that connection there. Now it's time to go and make some functionality with this part right here. Remember, previously I had an error because these weren't declared. So now I'm going to go ahead and put those in. So anyhow, let me uncomment this out, and then I'll save on that. As you see right here, these buttons right here don't do a darn thing. So these buttons, which are right here, have on click the value of show CSS and the text of CSS value. Right now the text is show only the CSS videos, and that's fine. But I want to go ahead and change that text on the fly, meaning when I click on these buttons, I want the text in these buttons to change. And I'll go and show that. So let's go ahead and bind some more. Let's go ahead and bind the show CSS, the CSS value right now. And how we're going to do that is go and put CSS value. And once again, we want that observable. That means we want to keep an eye on that. And let's just make that show only CSS videos. And then the other one is MVC value. KO knockout. It's an observable. And I'm going to put show only MVC videos. Okay, so right here, CSS value. Actually, I'm just going to show the these are buttons right here. This one is labeled CSS value, and the text right now is show only the CSS video, excuse me. But what's going to happen is he's going to take over, and it says the same thing, show only CSS videos. This right here really is just an afterthought. So I want the text to be declared as show only CSS videos. And I can actually put garbage here and put my name at the end, hit save, and that's what's going to show up at that button. So let me hit refresh. And that's not showing up. So there must be another declaration, and I do see an error. So let's go and correct that. So let's go ahead and start putting on the functionality. It is still looking for this click, and that's what's giving me the error. So let's go and do that, and I'll come back and show you how that's going to work. But we'll put these back to true. And let's go create those functions so that way I don't get any more JavaScript errors. The first one is the show CSS function. And I actually have that one already made. So this one right here, this function only lives to show only CSS videos and changes the button. So what I've got here is when show CSS function is called, right here, show CSS, when this button is clicked, go to this function and pretty much execute the items. View model, that's the view model right here, that's the attachment, dot show MVC, this guy right here, remember it's true, now is turned to false. That means make it disappear. Now I've also put in, even though this is already true, I've went ahead and declared that as well, and I'll show you why that's true, and I'll show the functionality of it. And then right here, view model, we start up here, dot CSS value, Start here. Currently CSS value is show only CSS videos, Robert. Let me take that out. Now I want to put CSS videos are only listed. That's when you press it, that's what's going to happen. This button text is going to change to this text right here. Okay, so now what I need to do is do the next, one more space, the next button. The next button is on click, show MVC. And to shorten time here, I'm going to add that into right here. Basically the same thing as show CSS, but now it's show MVC. When you click on the show MVC button, the view model.show CSS is false. That means go and hide anything with CSS with this value. Still make this true, and I'm going to make that button have the MVC videos are only listed. Now remember, I wanted the reset the list button, so that'll be our last button here. And I've got that saved as well. List it onto the side. And once again, real easy. Reset list. That lives in this button right here. When you click it, go to the reset list function. Remember the view model, that's your model. When this function is called, go ahead and make this guy true. Go and make this guy true if he's not already true. And then make the text of these two buttons go back to its original state. You have to declare it. So once we do that, let me make sure I've got all this correct. Getting back to the web page, once we went ahead and bound these click actions, reset list, show MVC, show a CSS, and the view model. So basically the view model tells what to do. That's pretty easy. So let's go and see if that worked out. Let's make this small. So right now we've got the two panels. This one right here is the MVC video. This right here is the CSS video. So if I just want to say show only CSS video, once I do that, the CSS video is the only one visible. The MVC video disappears. And as you see right here, CSS videos are only listed. That's kind of the change of text that I wanted. And you can see it right here. City videos are only listed. Now if I want to do just on MVC videos, you'll notice that that has changed too. And this is something I can change as well. I can go ahead and, when this function is called, go ahead and reset this value, and I can do that later on, but we get the gist of the example. So now if I want to go back and forth, I just go back and forth, and if I want to reset the list, I just reset everything, reset the list. So Knockout, as you can see, makes it real easy to bind your items like divs, bands, whatever, to the view model. And remember the MVVM model view model pattern, where the view, which is right up here, is attached to the model, which is right actually below it. So once these data binds are clicked, or the text, or there's visibility, there's other items as well, is chosen, your script right here will execute. And you can see it's pretty easy. There's not much to that. Knockout was a JavaScript library that I really like and I'm going to use from now on. You can see it has a very good documentation. Right here, all the bindings. There's the visible one we used. There's the text we used. And there's the click binding. And you can see all these options that it has that, like I said, just reach the surface. But anyhow, Knockoutjs, real good one to have on your software toolkit. Just add it right in there, and as you see, it was pretty easy. There was a few bumps on the way, but it works out pretty well. Once I get more videos, this will obviously come in much more handy, and I'm going to refine it. Maybe I'll change the colors, but as you see, Knockoutjs library is definitely one to keep in your toolbox.